Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all of the beautiful empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in on a great viewer question that is talking about changing their life to the next level and sort of reinventing themselves after they've been through a plethora or string or series of negative relationships that have not resulted in the level of life or lifestyle that they have wanted to experience on, and how to really surround themselves with better results. So I think that's a great viewer question. And namely, it's to understand that as you go through sort of the healing process, it's important for you to be able to accept the positive, accept compliments, accept and own the strengths of yourself. Oftentimes, if you've been through a series or a string of relationships with someone who is narcissistic or psychopathic, there has been a lot of judgment, criticism, or comparison going on, particularly that of comparison and judgment. Comparing you to others, comparing you to past, comparing to what they need and not what you need. So there becomes an internalization of a negative sense of self, or what is known in psychology as negative validation. In other words, feeling that you have been reinforced by the negative of what defines you versus being defined by the positive of what defines you. And people then begin to disown their personal power. They begin to disown the positive aspects of themselves. And this can become a gradual process, but in the disowning, they no longer acknowledge and validate or feel good about owning their positive strengths or aspects of self, whether it's a physical aspect, an emotional aspect, or a behavioral aspect. It's just like the positive does not stick. It does not hold. It just bounces off. People get into explaining and justifying then when they are experiencing a compliment or perhaps a positive other who they could have a communication with, even if it's in passing at the grocery store, getting your car fixed, getting your oil changed, passing somebody at your work, and they exchange a positive compliment or try to open up a discussion. People will then diffuse and dismiss, any sort of positive aspect. They shriek away. This can't be true. I can't trust this person. What if this person is out to use me? There becomes a lot of excuses then that deter people from receiving the positive. Then they just go into the shades of gray, into the shades of black. They are, going away from the light, meaning this person has a positive influence, or is receiving a positive about you, and then people deflect it. They disown it. This can be a real, hairpin for keeping people separate from their growth and separate from their best experience of life and their fulfillment and happiness, meaning stop deflecting the positive. Start owning the positive within you. People don't want the seed to grow, so they unearth it. They don't let it take root. This can't possibly be true. There must be some ulterior agenda. They want something from me. They're using, this is going to be just like all the other relationships. People begin to just sort of explain away the positive steps, the positive compliments, the positive conversations, and are afraid to build on it. So I would say it's very important that you begin to feel healthy and balanced about accepting and owning the positive aspects of yourself, the strength, the compliments, the things that you do well. Begin to, really embrace those, and not to just, dismiss them or brush them away. This can't be true. This can't be real. This person just wants something from me. Oftentimes it's important to understand that these are habitual reactions. These are just ways of deflecting what is the positive, deflecting what it is your true power, and what it is that you can truly build on and count on and rely on, and own that. So instead of always feeling that it's coming from a source that could be narcissistic, or that someone could be trying to, use a hidden agenda, begin to really look at that and own the fact that somebody is giving you a positive compliment. Oh, you look nice today. Do you work out? You're a great cook. You're a great at you're a great listener. You're a great writer. You have great insight. You do this job well. You are very kind. Do certain things that people then compliment you on. People need to, in the healing process, especially if you've been through a series or string of relationships with others who've been manipulative, it's, time to sort of back off a little bit and look at those knee-jerk reactions that explain and oftentimes push away the very people that would be beneficial to you in your life. Look at, are you asking yourself, are you alienating the very people that could assist you? Are you pushing the good people away? Are you, not giving a realistic evaluation and accepting of your strengths? And look at this sort of, depression, and how depression can mask your strengths. Depression can lead to apathy. It can lead to nothing I do will make a difference. And this just goes back along the NOD thinking, the negative orderly direction of thinking. And then you catapult it and set experiences down the wrong path. This isn't going to work. This isn't believable. I don't trust this. I don't think that I can maintain this relationship. All these things that people talk themselves out of the good and their potential, they deflect it. They don't pursue it. They get involved in what I call negative orderly direction thinking, going in the wrong direction. Backsliding, regressive, repression, not giving themselves a chance, and staying and perpetuating a negative or unhappy place in their life. So begin to look at, and begin to own and be sensitive to some more of the positive aspects of yourself. Begin to become aware of the habitual deflecting that you might do. This is not good enough. I am not funny enough. I'm not good looking enough. I don't make enough money. My car isn't this. My house isn't. All these judgments and comparisons. Remember that, the narcissist sets up their superiority complex by comparing with others. And oftentimes the paranoia that is created is along that comparison and that jockeying for, supply. Are you jockeying for number one, number two, number three in the relationship sort of patterns that you see with a narcissist or a psychopath? And then the paranoia that they create based on the comparison. It's a textbook manipulation to triangulate and create a smear campaign, whisper things in your ear, that are meant to be insidious, that are meant to hit you where it hurts, behind the knees. Don't fall for these, negative whispering. Either if you've internalized them and you're playing them for yourself now, like an incessant loop, or whether these people are still in your environment and whispering sweet negative nothings to you to get you to be brainwashed and to get you to double guess yourself and perpetuate the self-doubt. Become very clear at being able to tune in what is important for you to tune in, and then tune out, dial out what is not positive for you to receive. So begin to really develop more of that filter. And don't feel guilty about enforcing it. Begin to identify when words of manipulation are coming in. Begin to identify when looks of manipulation, body language of manipulation are affecting you. Begin to identify it and call it out to yourself, and to acknowledge and validate. Yep, that's just manipulation. Yes, that's manipulation. Yes, that's meant to deter me. Yes, that's meant to be a distraction. Yes, that's a trigger to get me to fight back. Begin to identify what the things that people say or don't say and how they're intended to trigger you, so you don't fall into their trap. Instead, you're becoming more aware of your own presence, your own present moment, and being able to, sort of be there at the incoming and seeing how it affects you. You know, how does this affect me? Becoming more sensitive and aware and acknowledging and validating of really what is manipulative and how this looks and feels, because chances are once you become astute and practice at this, you'll be able to pick it up again and again and again. Here's manipulation, and even if you didn't think this person was manipulative or that they could be, begin to become aware of the messages and begin to acknowledge and validate and sort of check it off and being able to allow it to sort of pass you by. Let the manipulators pass you by. Don't try to correct, acknowledge, and validate them or try to get on their good side, their bad side. Don't even do the try. Don't even do the do. Just let it go. Realize that oftentimes their intent is to develop and increase paranoia and distraction and fearfulness that you are not good enough. Become very well aware of this comparison jockeying mode. You know, the comparison, I, me. I, me. I mean, how long do you hear the I and the me? You know, and then it's just really talking about themselves in order to use others, to just sort of keep the center of attention going. You know, people will talk about themselves for hours, years, decades, if you let them. I mean, they will just get away until you put an end to it. You don't resonate with the comparison model that they are putting you up to disempower you. Sure, people have differences, but then it becomes really a level of amount, of percentage, of ratios. When you get to see in relationships when it's overwhelmingly narcissistic, overwhelmingly psychopathic, overwhelmingly manipulative, you know, overwhelmingly exploitative, overwhelmingly without, you know, attention to your rights, overwhelmingly not listening. You know, it can become very clear. So allow yourself to live in that clarity. Do yourself the honor and give yourself the self-respect. It's your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. I hope that these videos do help. Please share, please subscribe, and please donate for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. Be able to exit the comparison trap. Begin to acknowledge and validate when others are trying to manipulate you and has then resulted in a lack of owning your positive. Begin to look at when you've been dismissing your positive and begin to embrace that little by little. Not that it's like, you know, you're flipping off and bouncing off the walls, but begin to own the I am and the positive. Even if it's something insignificant and small, chances are it is your gift, and you should acknowledge and validate and begin to own the good, especially when the compliments come in or the trustworthy individuals come into your life. Be careful that you don't push the good and alienate the good away from you. You can do this.